How did you balance starting a business and working at Eastman at the same time?
Whoa. You're going all the way in. We have no lead in. We have no hook.
Well,
Almost wrecking the truck. There's a hook right there trying to make a video and almost wrecking. That's a hook right there. That's what almost happened. I don't know. I guess the whole purpose of this channel, what we're trying to do here is deliver to anyone and everyone who wants to, has ever thought about, or is currently running and operating a service-based business. Whether it be lawn care, landscaping, pressure washing, masonry, all kinds of subcontract work. I mean, all of it. So and then I guess furthermore, to prelude into that, what I am, who I am. My name is Dustin Davis. I started in the lawn care industry 12 years ago. I was in the military before that for 4 years. That's when you came into this world. This is my son. He's 15 now. He's helped me from day one. For his 5th birthday, he asked for a weed eater. So I got him a little bit shaft Troy built, little cheapo, so he could actually use it. He couldn't use my commercial Red Max. So he's been there from the beginning, and that's why I want to include him on this stuff. I want to include him on my content delivery, the editing, the future of it, because this right here is the future. Being able to deliver a message and help people solve problems before they even know they're coming is a skill that can only be acquired through actually doing the work. Like, you can't fake it, you can't learn it overnight, you can't read a book and figure it out. Like, there's multiple things that I have done that has led me to where I currently am and where we are, you know? Now, I took that lawn care business and I ran it on the side for 5 years, while at the same time I was going to school to get into an apprenticeship program with Eastman, which is a local chemical company. And without that job, I wouldn't have anything that I have right now, to be quite honest. It allowed me to have the security that banks want to see for me to be able to get loans, like the house loan, property, all that stuff. That came because I worked at Eastman. Now I have found that it is extremely hard to get any kind of loan if you don't, as a small business owner, especially in the first 5 years. It's really hard. Now, things are a little bit different, but I'll be quite honest with you, every time I go to the bank and ask for money, I'm always surprised when they tell me yes. I'm always surprised. Like with the Audi, you don't understand how surprised I was that they told me yes, that I could have that car. And I was like, all right, you know what? If you guys are stupid enough to let me have it, sure, I'll do it. I'm notorious for making bad decisions, so let that just be one of them, I guess. But that was me touching my dream a little bit, because I've been working really hard for 12 years. And I do have a lot of things, and we've got a lot of assets, and business. My feet are cold.
Did you have a fear, like, or was there, or how did you get over it when starting your business? Like, when you quit Eastman, were you scared of your business failing?
I don't think I was scared of it failing.
Because I know a bunch of people, they have, like, they're like, okay, I'm getting paid $70K at Eastman or something or whatever.
Yeah.
And
well, it was a mathematical equation for me. So I was putting in 40 hours at Eastman, getting paid $60,000 a year. And during the growing season, I would mow and landscape lightly for 8 months out of the year, and would make anywhere from $25,000 to $35,000. So I put in a bid for a big commercial property, and that bid was over $30,000. It was right at 35, I believe. And I got that bid. It was a clerk, the one who used to help me spray and weed eat, and the one, the big commercial property we used to take care of. So what? That's a turkey in the road. Can't see it, but yeah, dude in front of someone said turkey, I guess. It's a mathematical equation. I was exchanging X amount of time, and I would get Y out of it, which is what Eastman provided, along with the security and the leverage with the banks. And at this point in time, I had already bought the property, and I already built the house, and I had already what I wanted out of life at this moment, right? I was living the high life, essentially. And in all due respect, I still am. But I'm also nowhere satisfied. And you know that. You know what my plan is and where I want to go and what I want to do. And it doesn't stop across the hill. It stops when I die. It doesn't stop. There is no end goal. There's just goals along the way to the end. And the end is death. Yeah, I don't think I'll ever retire. So the equation was I was exchanging 7 to 8 months out of my time out of the year for $35,000 at max, at best. And then you got that bid for $30,000, $35,000, that put me over what I was getting if I was just working Eastman. Also, you need to understand at this point in time, I was burnt out. I was maxed out. I had almost lost my job. I got put on final warning because I'd showed up to work a couple times late. And by late, it was a couple minutes. It wasn't like hours. You know, I was fortunate to have friends that would call me at 6 o'clock or 6:10 if I wasn't there. Because normally I was always super early. Right. So if I wasn't there, it was weird. So they called me, and I would have enough time to throw my pants on, speed out the door, and get to work. Well, it didn't work every time, and you can't expect people to save you.
Right.
So I did everything I could. I stopped sleeping my phone in the bed. I put it away from me in the nightstand. I put it in the bathroom. I got to the point to where I was so tired that I would turn the phone off and go back to sleep and not know that I did it. I would do it in my sleep. And then I knew I was just at this point. So I put in this bid for this job. I got it, and I was already on final warning. I knew that I couldn't make it another season juggling both. So I prayed about it and I quit. I turned in my notice, and my boss asked me, so, well, Dustin, what are you going to do during the summer or during the winter? And I said, well, my intent is to make enough money during the summer that I can sit on my butt during the winter.
How'd that go for you?
It worked out pretty good. I made $100,000 that first year.
A question about like winter time, like for somebody that didn't do what you did, where you kind of just put salt out and stuff to earn money for it, you know, what else could you do for
you
like
save.
The lawn care business?
It's simple. If you don't want to do nothing, it is very simple. You take your monthly cost of living, and then I'm talking going to the movie theater, I'm talking eating dinner, eating out, I'm talking the lifestyle that you live currently. You take that lifestyle, what it costs to do that, all your car payments, truck payments, mowers, house, waters, utility, extra, right? And then you have 3 months of that, and then you double it. Mine was $30,000. So my doubled amount, my 3-month amount was $15,000. I doubled it to 30. So that's why for the first few months out of the season, I lived like I was broke, because my goal was to save up $30,000. And once I saved up $30,000, that was my nest egg. I didn't touch it. That was my 3 months of FU money. That's why I was able to afford to delete my truck and buy wheels for it and do this and do that. And that's when I would play, and I would buy equipment and tools and new trucks. I was able to go into the new season with normally a surplus of money. So I would save it, and then after I got it saved, we lived, and that's when we went on vacations. That's when we would spend what I made and spend what I felt like I earned.
So basically, suffer through those constant
it's
months
delayed,
of just working your butt off.
It's just delayed gratification.
Yeah. And then have 3 months or however long to just
whatever your downtime is. Our downtime is about 3 months. You know, we would work up until December. And it was December, January, February. By March, I'm working again. Right. So it was 3 months I had to take off. And that's how that equation worked out. That's how I felt comfortable going into winter, and that's how we survived for the first couple of years. And then as the business grew and my overhead continued to grow and payments continued to stack up, you have to continue working. I couldn't make enough money because I'm constantly reinvesting everything that I make back into the business to buy better equipment, better tools, better trucks, better trailers, better everything, to make us more efficient and ultimately more profitable if done correctly. To where within a few years of doing that, that's when you start to get the payoff. And essentially, the payoff is being able to buy shit I can already you know, being able to fluctuate that money around a little bit. And I got to the point, please understand that I'm not to the point to where I'm up and I have hundreds of thousands of dollars stashed away. That's
Right.
not the situation. I'm still growing and I'm still reinvesting everything that I make. So much to the point that, like, I already have a plan for all the money that's going to be made from that school platform. And that's to grow the hands-on training experience to where we can affect more people and change more lives and help more people understand how to make money in this business. That's what the ultimate goal is.
How do you know, like, have you ever, like, as a customer ever said, I can't do that much money per square foot? Like, do you go down on your price, or do you know the quality of your work? Because some people and some business owners, I feel like, if they don't make, even if they lose some money, like if they don't do the work, then they'll never get work.
Yeah. Well, no. At first, yes. You have to negotiate just to get work. Now, if you come to my class, I teach you how to make sure the work is perfect the first time. Now, perfect is a term that I use lightly because it doesn't actually exist. We strive for perfection. We do everything we can to eliminate fault and failure in the product that we install and the way that we deliver things. But also understand that it's impossible. There was only one person that's ever walked this earth that was perfect, and we all know who that was. And I, nor anybody that's ever going to work for me, is anywhere close to that.
Right.
I think that would be blasphemous to think that we were.
Right.
So, in that respect, you try to do everything you can, the best you can.
Don't skip out.
Don't skip out
yeah.
on, and don't half-ass it. If you do anything, go
Do
all
it to
the
your
way in.
fullest.
Do it to your fullest. And I need to practice what I preach at home. I half-ass a lot of stuff at home because I know what I'm willing to get away with. But on my job sites, it's a little different. It's actually a lot different. There's standards that are set in place that we can or cannot accept. And those have tightened up through the years. You know, the standard 5 years ago is not what the standard is now. The standard now is not going to be what the standard is in 5 years.
And that's something that you
We're
can't,
continuously getting better. Continuously getting better. We're continuously learning. That's one of our core values in the business and the training is continuously learning, continuously progressing. But like a dog chasing a ball. Yeah.
How do you find the right people for the job? Like you fired a bunch of people, like Dustin and stuff.
Yeah.
Like, how do you find someone that's as committed as you?
You're never going to find anybody that's as committed as you as a business owner. It's impossible. So lose that mentality. It doesn't exist. Nobody's going to love what you do as much as you do. But what I can say about that is that each and every person that has been in my business at the right time to teach me the lesson that I need to be taught. Now, it was up to me to learn it and to progress forward and either teach them and mold them, and if I couldn't, release them back into the world to where they can progress their lives outside of my business. I was bad about hanging on to people.
So, yeah.
So
don't
hang on. Don't get too connected because you have to keep the true vision in sight. And if you go down that road too many times and you keep seeing that it's a dead end, why are you going to keep going on that road, you know? So you're going to have to learn that people come into your life at the right time, but not everybody's meant to be there for the full time, for the extent of it, you know? So you have to learn when you cannot teach, because normally the problem is with you, the owner.
Mm-hmm.
When you cannot teach, mold, or mentor them into the position that they need to be in, and you're holding them back and stunting them from their growth in their life, then you have to know when to let go of them. And then, furthermore, all those good people that are, all those great people that are in businesses, like, they already have jobs, you know? So you got to go fishing. And there's a big pond out there. There's a lot of people that are out there working. You know, clean your mouth before we do another video. But there's a big pond out there, and you got to go fishing. So all those A players are already A players in somebody else's business. Now, what I recommend you do is you talk to people. You're always hiring, you're always prospecting, you're always looking at people. When I'm at Lowe's, I'm watching the guys that are unloading. How professional are they? Do I want to offer them a job one day? And you find their constraint. You find their pain point with where they work. Sometimes it's money, sometimes it's time, sometimes it's lack of appreciation, sometimes it's lack of the ability to move up, sometimes they've been overlooked and they're a little bit sour, and you play that to your advantage and you give them the opportunity. It's not a lie, it's an opportunity for, if you do this, we can do this. And you better deliver. If they produce, you better deliver on what you tell them you're going to do, right? Now, I've fallen victim of giving people false expectations, false hope, because I was ignorant to the fact that it took more time. Mm-hmm. I myself was not even in the position that I was trying to give other people, and I didn't even actually have it perfected, so I didn't have any way to tell anybody. I didn't have an expectation. I didn't have a standard.
You were still learning.
I was still learning, exactly. So I guess in a nutshell, the good people are already out there working. You just got to go find them. But you have to mold yourself into that person that grade A person wants to work for, right? They don't want to work for a slob. They don't want to work for somebody who's disrespectful or dishonorable.
Right.
They want to work for somebody who has pride in what they do. They want to work for somebody who has honor, right? Discipline, integrity, and somebody who can do what the hell they say they're going to do, right? You think Adam would have came into the business if I didn't have $500,000 worth of work to do?
Yeah.
You know, there was proof. And then we've continued to progress that. And he sees that we're continuing. That's what we're doing now. We're continuing to progress. He's out on the job sites, running my jobs, making sure everything's going right. Him and Greer got that down pat. Not perfect, but they're getting there. And then I are growing this. And we're shifting from what we've been doing, and I'm taking what we've built and the following that we have, and I'm going to leverage it, and we are going to teach, and we're going to give it all away. Now, I'm going to get paid back for it. There will be a nominal fee on the school platform of like $25 a month, but that is a low barrier of entry for all the information that is going to be given out, you know?
Right.
The information, just like we've discussed right here. This is all going to be part of the school platform. All this stuff that we're putting together is going to be part of that, and that's what they're going to get from it. So let's go in here and get this started, and then we'll make another video.
All right.